Greetings and welcome back to the weekly news roundup. I hope that everybody had a wonderful week, getting ready for a wonderful weekend. And we're back. We got some fun discussion, dystopic health startups, and of course we will talk about Notepad hack. Of course, the hack of Notepad++. We'll talk very briefly about that. Is our featured in QuickLines, which is our featured in QuickLines is just somewhere in the QuickLines. We don't really know exactly where it's going to be. It's in there somewhere, though. I promise. I think. Maybe. I don't know. But anyway, one of the things that I wanted to mention here is when we kind of relaunched just a little bit of the kind of new formatting of the show last year, we wanted to do a podcast, but the easy way to run the podcast feed, the application I had seen in the past had gone defunct, and we actually may have found a replacement for that. Now, I could always, if I were sadomasochistic, I could always just build the RSS feed manually, throw the files up on the hosting server, and call her good. But I actually wanted a platform that's a little bit easier to use. Maybe it's even something you could go to directly if you wanted to, but also have the podcast feeds push out as many places as we can. Well, that will take a while to implement, especially I need to track down where those Apple logins are, because you actually have to sign into an Apple account to get them on iTunes. So I'll figure that out, and you might have to install a Windows on a VM because you have to do it through an iTunes account, which you can't run. I don't know. It's crazy. But I've done it before. I'll do it again. But stay tuned. Probably about a month or less, we may actually have an audio podcast version of this show up. So just stay tuned for that. It may be something that I prioritize looking into. It may be something that I prioritize looking into when I get back to Pennsylvania. But we are investigating that. I know somebody had recently asked for that. That is something that we have been looking into, and I think we might have found the solution. And I think it's something Ivan had looked at previously as well. So that was good. We were actually on the same page. Stumbled upon it independently. So that's good. If you want to help support the channel, have a look at the website, switchedtolinux.com/support. We have our locals, Patreon, and Subscribestar, and LibrePay is over there as well. If you want to help support the channel, you can have a look over there. There's also a list of affiliates over there as well. But with that, we are going to start in on our new first topic. So first up in the weekly news roundup, we are going to talk about dystopic health startups, because all forms of health startup apps are starting to creep up all over the place, and they are crazy and they are creepy and they are things I would highly recommend you not use. Isn't that wonderful? And so we will, understand this. When Fitbit, I think, was one of the first one of these types of applications came out, I originally looked at it and said, that would be kind of neat. I like doing health tracking stuff. And, I like going in and saying, hey, how many steps did I do today? And what was my heart rate looking like? And things like that, right? And I started looking into Fitbit, and I see everything like, you got to have the Fitbit account. And I'm like, even then I wasn't full-fledged into the privacy and security arm of the world, but at the same time I was like, something in my soul just wasn't comfortable giving all that data up to some app on a phone, because even back before the Graphene OS and before Lineage, and back when I was using the normie phones, I still did not like apps and tying into it. I mean, I am the furthest thing from a phone addict. If you're addicted to your phone and you're looking for solutions, I can't help it. I can't even relate. There are times I forget my phone is even here. I mean, I use it as an alarm clock in the morning. I use it to collect the news articles for the weekly news roundup. And now, since I got the Garmin Forerunner, I use Gadget Bridge, which allows me to sync it like once a day. But I don't have any other basic apps installed on the phone. I don't do banking over there, and I don't think you should either. There's just too many problems with the phones. And so I was looking at that going, I don't really want to do any of that. And then I started looking into it further and further. We're still going back over a decade ago. And I look at Fitbit and I go, businesses often have an exit strategy, and their exit strategy is going to sell to the highest bidder, and their highest bidder may very well be a health insurance company, which a health insurance company would pay top dollar for that because it gives them a whole lot of information in the actuary tables. Like, oh, this guy over here, he says he weighs this much and he's in tip-top shape, but I can see from the app that he, sits on the couch eating potato chips, watching the latest reruns of whatever the current TV show is, and, he's not getting a lot of sleep. He might have sleep apnea, and there's other issues that we can detect from it. I don't know. Well, who ended up buying Fitbit? Do you know? Google. Well, technically Alphabet. As working on Alphabet, working on a health insurance company. So I was sort of right, I was sort of wrong. Not an established health insurance company, but one that really wants to use that type of health data. And so even if you trust the company that has the health data that your devices are collecting on you, it is still, you still have a reason to be concerned. And that's one of those things that I wanted to mention. But this leads me into a couple articles I found this week. And that is, of course, the founders of Fitbit, after making millions of dollars selling their app to Google, they are back. Now they want to track not just your health, but everybody else's health. This is following along a very disturbing trend I've talked about recently. And that is that it's one thing if you want to give your own data up, but there's been this big trend lately of companies now allowing you to input other people's data into your account. You look at Ring, and we talked about this, where Ring now has a new feature that allows you to program in people that so you can say to Amazon, oh, this person coming up, this is my mother, Amazon. Wouldn't you like to have that for your Flock database? And now you have this direct connection, and then it passed on to Flock, and then they can track your mom around the world, and they know it's your mom because you told them, and I think it should be completely banned to have your distraction box contact list syncing with any app. I think that should be completely illegal. I think we need regulation against that, because I didn't consent to you to give my name and my phone number to Facebook. Why did you do that? It is my data. I should have the freedom of what is over there, and any data that is passed on that I did not directly pass to that company should be illegal for that company to have. Period. We need to banish data brokers, all of them. But the thing is that it is becoming more popular to have these types of things so that you could now utilize their new health app, and it doesn't monitor just you. Now it monitors you and mom and the kiddo and even the dog. The dog is in here. You pet parents. Don't get me started. Yes, you can include your dog in the Fitbit health app. Go on figure. All right, so the founders, James Park and Eric Friedman, have announced the launch of a new AI startup called Luffu. And I'm laughing all the way. It's Lufu, I think. I don't know. Luffu. I swear they've run out of names for things, so they're like playing Scrabble or pulling letters out of a bag. Luffu. Lufu. Let's call it Glufu. Go for it. Why not? What's in a name? So this is to aim to help families proactively monitor their health. Now, I am all for proactively monitoring your health. Okay, I have a blood pressure cup. My blood sugar kit broke, so I'm gonna need to buy me a new one of those. True, that $20. I paid $20 for that thing like a decade ago. I need a new one. I am okay with monitoring your health. I like the Garmin Forerunner because I don't have to connect it to any Garmin app. It's never been on the internet or connected to any internet connected app. But I can still track the data. I can see how I'm doing. I have not yet figured out how the watch figures out I'm stressed, because I have literally done this twice now. I'm sitting back. The other night I was sitting back. The day was over. I'd accomplished a lot. I was literally sitting there watching the last bit of the sun go down over a mountain. The stars are coming out, and I am eating some cookies, just going, oh, it's so quiet and peaceful. And my watch beeps and says, hey, you're stressed out. I am not stressed out. I am anything but stressed out. Okay. But isn't that interesting? What if my watch, which for some reason thinks I'm stressed out a lot, and I'm not a screaming, raving lunatic most of the time, just when I'm live over on this YouTube channel, right? If you actually know me in person, I'm very calm and very quiet, actually. I don't like a lot of noise. It's kind of interesting. But The watch keeps on saying you're stressed out, and I have no earthly idea why. Like, oh, look, my heart rate's low, everything's low, but the watch has this stress score. Well, what if this stress score keeps on going up and pinging onto somebody's database? Health insurance company gets a hold of this and goes, this guy's always stressed out a lot. I mean, this is a heart attack waiting to happen. I don't know. I could be a heart attack waiting to happen. I don't know. Everyone in my family's died young. I don't know. But they've all, smoked like they were on fire and drank like they were trying to put it out. So how much does that go into it versus a guy who's midway through his 40s and still runs a mile several days a week? I mean, there's a radical difference between that, I also eat real food. I know it's a weird thing, but that's the thing. But now these guys they have their exit from Google. They decided they're betting on AI now to help lighten the mental burden of caregiving. Oh, how horrible it is to get your mental care. So Lufu, I'm just going to call it Lafu. Is that okay? This is laughable. Lafu, Lufu, uses AI in the background to gather and organize family information, learn day-to-day patterns, and flag notable changes so families can stay aligned and address potential well-being issues. That's all we need. AI to be spying on our health in the background, probably on someone else's server. All right, so I was caring for my parents from across the country, trying to piece together my mom's health care across various portals and providers with a language barrier that made it hard to complete. Timely context from her about doctor visits. I didn't want to constantly check in, and she didn't want to feel monitored. Lafu was the product we wished existed to stay on top of our family's health. Know what changed and when to step in without hovering. So there are some highlighted things I want to talk about. Okay, so first, a language barrier. Language barrier with whom? This is your mom, right? Is it language barrier with the doctors? I am completely confuzzlicated on what you were saying as a language barrier. Something doesn't work, guys. 2 + 2 no longer equals 4. You're either having a language barrier with your mom or your language barrier with your mom's doctor. Maybe if you're having a language barrier with your mom's doctor, maybe this isn't a reason we shouldn't have people here who can't speak English. There's a thought. But what language barrier are you talking about? It's your mother. If you have a language barrier with your mother, I mean, I understand, but come on. Okay. Second, she didn't want to feel monitored. She didn't want to feel monitored. So let's have an AI watch her perpetually in the background. Well, that won't make me feel monitored. Talk about cognitive dissonance. This is insanity. What the hell's going on with these people? All right. The real life health is shared across partners, kids, parents, pets, and caregivers. Yes, we have a giant collected database sharing all forms of health information all over the place. Well, if that doesn't sound like a target for a hacker to go after, no thank you. I'd rather keep my basic health stuff on my phone, where when it says I'm stressed out, I can look at it and go, are you smoking crack? Watch? Jeez. Sitting down watching a sunset while the stars are coming out eating cookies is not stressful, okay? But the last thing I need is for the AI to think I'm stressful and start alerting doctors that you might be stressed out. You might be stressed out. You might be stressed out. It's kind of like that fun story. I've told it before. It's so funny, but it's health-related stuff. So I had a tooth infection, right, at one point in time. And I knew I had a tooth infection, and I couldn't get in to see the dentist. Well, the local urgent care center wanted like $300 just to walk in the door. I'm like, that's ridiculous. I don't need a diagnosis. I have a tooth infection. Like, look, see, it's infected. Oh, here's an antibiotic. Okay. So I'm like, okay, let's just pop some more Tylenol and go, because I had a conference in Texas. So I'm driving down the way. I leave the home. I drive straight. I'm up for 20 hours. I drink 2 pots of coffee, up for 20 hours with an infection in my tooth. And it's getting bad again. And the Tylenol is not working. So I stop into an urgent care in Amarillo. It's like a university urgent care. It only costs like $80 to walk in. Great. Awesome. Let's walk in, pay my $80, sit in there, and I get one of those. They don't even send a doctor. It's one of those PAs, probably a student, looking at everything going, well, you know, your blood pressure is pre-hypertensive. You might want to start thinking about medication. Pre-hypertensive blood pressure. I had a 180 85/82. On 20 hours of sleep, 2 pots of coffee, and a tooth infection. Should I sue this woman for malpractice? I mean, what are you thinking? But probably somewhere in some health record of mine, potentially hypertensive, pre-hypertensive, because this is just all their thing to get you on medication. Because that's what pharmacology these days. It's not about healthcare. It's about how can we get you into the system on a perpetual medication. So I'm like, no, you're a moron. Okay, give me like, look. She looks at it and goes, wow, your tooth is infected. Duh. Here's an antibiotic prescription. Okay, great. Go to the local grocery store. They actually fill the antibiotic for free, which is cool, because they figure, hey, you fill it for free, it's going to take an hour to fill, and it was so cheap, and they'll figure you'll go shopping. Looked like a good deal. I picked up some things I might have wanted for some snacks for the conference, go over, get my free prescription, start popping pills. Guess what? My tooth feels great again. And, subsequently after that, I've since taken my blood pressure several times since then, and I'm still sitting at that very nice, was it 120/80? I think I said, it's 125. I think I said 185/80. No, it's 125 over, it's like 5 over on the systolic. And so, of course, everything's normal because I don't have high blood pressure, okay? Even when I'm ranting like this, it's crazy, but I don't have high blood pressure, all right? So I don't, though, need the watch to be sending information up that some health insurance care provider says, well, your watch said one time a while ago that you were stressed out, and it's done this a couple times, and so we think that you're stressed out. So we think you're a higher heart attack risk, so I think we'll put a little higher tier on this or something like that, No. So you won't be monitored, so you'll be monitored by the AI because you have the language barrier with your mother. And that's all laughable, so you get LAFU. Why not, right? So, LoFu proactivity watches for changes. Wonderful. And it alerts people of those changes. So there is one dystopic health startup that I really want nothing to do with. But there was another one. This is Lotus Health. They captured $35 million in seed funding for an AI doctor that sees patients for free. You've heard the old adage that if it doesn't cost anything, you're the product. Yeah. So would you go and talk to a free AI doctor? This is interesting. So a growing number of people are now asking ChatGPT and other LLMs about their health, often discovering that the chatbots provide remarkably useful medical insights at the wonderful cost of sending your data up. And so with that happening, then ultimately people are using it more. So the inefficiencies of the U.S. healthcare system, of course, he recognized this ever since he's a child, acting as a medical translator for his parents. Once again, we have this language barrier going on. If we just all agree to speak English, maybe we'll be in better shape. I don't know. And then, of course, now he launches Lotus Health AI, a free primary care provider that's available 24/7 in 50 languages. On Tuesday, announced it raised $35 million in a Series A round co-led by CRV and Kleiner Perkins, bringing its total funding to $41 million. Moves beyond those chats to facilitate actual medical care, including diagnosis, prescriptions, and specialist referrals. They do want to bring in real doctors to evaluate, and when real doctors are evaluating the AI's decision, then we might actually have a situation where the doctors start losing efficiency. I want the doctors to be doing this. I don't want AI to be doing this because I want the doctor to have the experience. Even if it's the 100th case he's seen about some common thing, I still want him the experience of doing that from time to time so he doesn't forget some of the basics. So effectively, though, they are bringing in an AI doctor that functions like real medical practice, equipped with licenses to operate in all 50 states, malpractice insurance, HIPAA compliance systems, and full access to patient records. All for free. Now, the only saving grace here is if it's HIPAA compliant, it can't do all the data brokerage it would want to. But who knows? It might want you to sign away on that. I don't know, which you can. You can sign away on COPA. I think you might be able to sign away on HIPAA. If not, you can expect that to be a carve-out put in there pretty soon. The company's always had board-certified doctors from top health institutions such as Stanford, Harvard, and UCSF review the final diagnosis, lab orders, and medical prescriptions. And so AI is giving advice, but the real doctors are actually signing off on it. And if a case requires a physical examination, it refers patients to an in-house physician. So now we are going to build an AI system that now has a network of Walmart-quality doctors inside of a giant network. So you can use the AI. It says, hey, I think you need to see our Walmart doctor. And then you get a chance to go out there. I remember when Walmart was doing that, actually having doctors in there, like doing like full exams and stuff. Yeah, kind of weird thing. I had only heard about it that once. I haven't heard much about it since then. So primary care doctors are in short supply. Lotus claims it can see 10 times as many patients as a traditional practice, even when it limits each visit to 15 minutes. I wonder why that is, because one centralized bot. But there are other ones. So Lightspeed is another one of these competitors, but Lotus is saying ours is completely free of charge. Yeah, completely free of charge means that you are actually going to be the product here. Now, the thing is that a lot of these health applications, this is from July of 2023, but a lot of Americans think that just because something like your Fitbit collects health data, they think it's HIPAA compliant and it's covered by HIPAA. And the reality is that is not actually the case. So there is a common misconception that HIPAA applies to health apps. However, the majority of health apps are not covered by HIPAA, nor is the health information collected, stored, or transmitted by the apps. Actually, though, it is true that many of them do collect and store and transmit data. In fact, almost all of them do. So I'm not sure about that particular part. They say health information collected by health apps may be transmitted by third parties, sold, or used for purposes that are not permitted under HIPAA because they are not HIPAA. Okay. According to Clear Data Harris Poll, a survey of 2,000 U.S. adults, 68% reported they were very or somewhat familiar with HIPAA, yet 81% of respondents believe the health data collected by digital health apps is covered by HIPAA and is subject to its privacy and security rules, which is not true. They also revealed health information privacy is not a key factor for Americans when choosing personal health apps, which is why everybody runs around with a device constantly sending all of their health biometric stats up to Google. Go figure. And 58% of them reported to have used digital health apps, said they had not considered how the information entered into those apps would be used. And this is our biggest problem, is that too many people, you either are aware of this and are conscious about it, or you're not, and you give other people's data to these big companies too. So HIPAA does not apply to most digital apps. Digital health companies are required to comply with FTC Act, which must notify consumers in the event of a data breach of Health Act under the Health Breach Notification Rule. So there's a special FTC rule that specifies that you must be alerted if your health information is breached, but it's not held to the same standard as HIPAA. So it turns out that the FTC actually has an interactive tool allowing you to determine if your app falls under HIPAA rules or not. And it's just a series of questions and answers. So it's going to ask which federal laws apply. Does it collect, share, use, or maintain health information? There's either a yes or a no. If it's yes, then it does app fall within the HIPAA rules. So it kind of explains as to what these things are, basically identifiable health information. And many people get around this by saying, well, they de-anonymize it, even though that's easy to do, easy to undo. So there's a whole checklist apps can go through to figure out, or maybe engineer their app so they're just on the edge of that without actually qualifying for HIPAA. It does turn out Fitbit is actually HIPAA compliant. So if you are worried about it, Fitbit is HIPAA compliant. I still don't trust it because it is a product of Google sending all of your health data to Google servers. And I just don't trust that. It's Alphabet, like I said, technically. But the point here is that there's all of these health apps coming on down the pipeline, and too many people involved in these health apps, they don't even think about the downstream consequences of giving this data up to a big company. They don't think about what happens if that company is sold. What happens if the company goes bankrupt? You know, what happens if they end up buying or selling or sharing? What if they have a rogue internal person? I mean, just think of it. A rogue internal person at Fitbit could pull up the logs of somebody and see where they go based on location data. I mean, it is that frightening, which is why some of these devices have been banned from military bases, because you could easily see where the military was in their database. There was a couple of those that fell under that. So my point here is that you have to be extraordinarily cautious on any of these apps which are collecting data, health data on you and transmitting it to a company's server. So that is what my thoughts are. Let me know your thoughts about these. The full stream is linked below, as are the articles will be down below. So thanks for watching, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux. All right, we will check in on some comments, and then we will do our QuickLines. Hopefully our QuickLines is not 40 minutes. It was 40 minutes last week. It took forever to encode. All right, Ivan's over there on Matrix, Fitbit. Blah. All right. Health app monitoring others now. Yes, we are now like, come on, Junior, get on this thing. I don't want to be on it. I don't want the whole Western world to know how my kidneys are feeling. All right. Okay. I don't get the stress thing either. It's just based on, it's not based on heart rate. My heart rate's really low every time it does that. I think on the gadget bridge, I can see, what can I see? I can see stress as compared to some other factor, but I don't know what it is. It's not blood pressure, because my watch is not capable of doing a blood pressure thing. Let me see what the stress indicators compare with. I can't see exactly what it compares with. Oh, I think it was directly on the watch is where it has a stress compared. Let me find that real quick. Let's see. So if I do stress, no, it's not there either. Somewhere I saw stress mapped to something else. I don't remember what it was. It might be on the more expanded view. Let me check the expanded view really quick. Let's see. Let's go there. Let's go there. Let's look at activity. Stats. There you go. VO. No, that doesn't give it to me either. Somewhere I saw stress mapped with something else, and I don't remember what it is. It's not heart rate, though, so I'm not sure what precisely it was. It was definitely something there, but that's the last thing I need, is for my watch to be telling some server somewhere I'm stressed out when I'm actually not. I'm going to laugh my buddy off at the stupid name. That's right. I just called it Giglafoo on YouTube. There you go, Giglafoo. It's Giglafoo. All right, high blood pressure. Oh, boy, don't get me started on that. AI doctor, yep. Mother had it, and definitely my mother had it, and I definitely don't. It was taken a few times from the past Monday for my semi-annual infusion. There you go. Is this doctor going to suggest you replace your sodium chloride with sodium bromide? Who knows? I listen to doctors about as much as I listen to leftists. So, you know. Let's see. Let's see here. We got Ivan's on over here. Dan, hope you're feeling better. Yeah, Dan wasn't feeling as good. Amos Huckleberry, greetings. Let's get ready to rumble. That's right. Open source biometrics now. There you go. Yeah. Digital mood ring. There you go. Yeah. All right, over there on, how many do we have on Rumble? We had 12 watching on Rumble. We got 10 watching on Odyssey, wherever an Odyssey is. Elio Swirl, howdy to you. Nextcloud on Pi, let's see. My Pi 3B is a Nextcloud, mostly use it for calendar. There you go. That's a good way to do your calendar. Asteroid OS on my watch app is optional. Will you fit meter? And I want to know how many steps I walked. Yep. The average person has very poor assumptions when it comes to what companies can and can't do. They believe there's a law for everything. Yeah, and that's one of the things I'm in evaluating a company right now that, they'll follow the various laws available in different places, but ultimately they don't follow, like there's not a lot of laws to follow. Wow, we only have 26 people watching on YouTube. That's weird. Did I get shadow banned again? That's a pretty low number. The Polish guy, greetings to you, Silver Adventures. Hello. Remember, it was Thursday when I saw the stream while scrolling. I just got a Think phone go with my ThinkPad. There you go. Nice. Hello, fellow Clippies. A Think phone exists. There you go. I work the stream, so I don't have a reason to forget it. Yep, there you go. Will Notepad++ on wine also be dangerous? Yes, because it was the internal. It was like the automatic update system that was compromised. So as long as you had it installed, yes, it's potentially vulnerable. Just decided to take a relaxing shower before the show. Nice. Were you stressed out? How's this stuff of the camera even legal? Yeah. But the contact sync is useful and should not be banned. The contact sync is useful and should not be banned. No, I disagree. Any sharing of anybody else's information should be banned. See, I think I'd be watching on Rumble, but the second my Bluetooth keyboard trackball goes into sleep mode, it stops the stream. Oh, really? That's interesting. May just be better to stay on those platforms. Yeah, anything outside of Google contract makes me want to sync my contacts to if they're on the service. Like, nope. Yeah. Greetings and salutations, KO2610. Greetings. I'm not getting political, but I saw the new Trump RX website went live tonight. Not sure if I should use it or not. I'd probably be inclined to say no. Let's pass on that one. I'm not trust Trump on medicine at all. Yeah, I'm kind of with you there. No. Let him keep running his golf courses and hotels. Maybe I'll stay at one of those. But when it comes to like something deeply personal, like medical, no, I don't think so. I do not know who Kroger is. I'm not an American. So Kroger is one of our 3 huge grocery store chains in America, and they have about 100 different names too. Do you trust more WebMD or an AI? I'd go with, well, I don't know. Prior to the AI release, I'd say WebMD, but now WebMD is probably just AI anyway. So I don't know. I'd be more inclined to follow a health textbook from the 2000s. A national grocery store chain with a pharmacy. Some of the stores have expanded out to a mini Target. Yeah, various names after buying up chains over the years. Yep. Like, I think either Giant or Albertsons is a Kroger brand in State College. I forget which one it is. And the other one's the other big brand. So we had Smith's in Wyoming. I think Smith's was the same brand as Giant is in State College. So it must be Albertsons as the Kroger. New England, it's Hanford Market, Market Basket, and Stop Shop. There you go. Group of the Border, South Carolina and North Carolina. There you go. It's not every store they're doing where they have competition. Let's see. We don't have a Kroger around here. Yeah, you probably have it under a different name. You for sure have Kroger. It's just what is the name of it down there. Anybody in the North Carolina, South Carolina area know what Kroger brand is? Let us know in the comments. ThinkPad, only good Linux laptop. Oh, no. I use Dell's more than anything, and I have great luck with Dell's. The thing about ThinkPads is they were very rugged and very repairable, but Dell's are also very repairable. I don't know if they're as rugged, but they're very repairable. Have one prescription for my heart. Kickstart my heart. There you go. Dell makes some decent laptops for Linux, but Lenovo, in my opinion, is the best. All my laptops are business class. There you go. T460, T470, as long as you don't have a T101 or a T800, I don't know. Cyberdyne Systems Model 101. Was that the T800? No, that was the T1000, right? T1000. Arnie was the T800. T800 Cyberdyne Systems Model 101, is that it? I forget. I think phones work best on Lineage. Dylan's out in the Midwest, is Kroger owned. Okay. South Carolina, Georgia is Kroger directly. Okay. All right. We have hit the bottom of those comments. Let me just come back over here. And trust their net for certain. Sorry, honestly didn't echo fast enough. Yeah, there you go. Watch collecting info about my mood. No thanks. Also, AI doctor, run away fast. Amen to that. All right, let's go ahead and jump on into our quick lines. Actually, let me grab a sip of coffee first. All right. Welcome back to the weekly news roundup in the Quick Lines edition, where somewhere in here we will talk about Notepad++, or is that Notepad hack? We'll get in there in a moment. Of course, all of the full stream link is down below, as are the link to the articles is also down below. And first up in our Quick Lines, a lawsuit filed last week alleges a tech firm can access virtually all private communications, a claim the company has denied. All right. So Meta can read encrypted WhatsApp messages. I wanted to include this one because I sit on the fence on this one, as much as I want to say, of course we all knew it. I just don't know. And the evidence in this is a little shady with a little bit of potentiality, as it were. All right. And so what do I mean by that? Well, first and foremost, what we see here is the allegation that Meta can access WhatsApp users' private communications. Meta, of course, because a PR person said it, says it's categorically false and absurd. But what happened here is that this looks like it could very well be a retaliatory suit, because what ended up happening is there was a separate case where this guy, Quinn Emanuel, in a separate case is helping represent the NSO group in its appeal against a judgment from the U.S. federal court, which ordered it to pay $167 million to WhatsApp for violating terms of service in the deployment of Pegasus spyware on more than 1,400 users. So effectively, WhatsApp here ends up winning the lawsuit requiring all of this money. So the same firm is turning around and finding some undisclosed whistleblowers and saying, well, these undisclosed whistleblowers that we won't identify to you, they all say that WhatsApp can view information inside. So it looks like a serious conflict of interest. If this is true, this guy should have nothing to do with this case, because this is what causes me to question, is this true or not? So we look forward to moving forward with those claims, and note WhatsApp's denials have all been carefully worded in a way that stops short of denying the central allegation that Meta has the ability to read the messages regardless of its claims about end-to-end encryption. Now, first let's talk about this elephant in the room, end-to-end encryption. Different security researchers have different definitions of this term. As we were trying to look at different ones, and I talked to some personally, and then we read different articles from different solid experts in the field. Some of them say end-to-end encryption is only encryption from this end to this end. And what happens in between, like on this side or on this side, may or may not be encrypted. Some people say end-to-end encryption is it's encrypted absolutely everywhere over here, absolutely everywhere in here, and in transmission. So there's not a solid answer. Now, to the opposition's point, WhatsApp basically says in all of their wording, it says, we don't read the messages. It doesn't talk about the technical capabilities. And so the question is, can they actually read them? Now, obviously, some WhatsApp messages have leaked out over the years. Is that from the application, or is that from the fact that some people could take screenshots up with it in some ways? Now, one of the factors is that the protocol they use is the same protocol as Signal. So in theory, if they just use Signal's protocol without adjusting anything, then it should be very secure, because Signal does have end-to-end zero knowledge encryption. So they allege they cannot see any information at all, and there's never been evidence to the contrary. The problem we have with WhatsApp is also a proprietary app. They will not release the source code, and we have no earthly idea what is going on in between. And at some point in time in the chain, those messages have to be decrypted in order for you to see them on your device. And let's also not forget that Meta was the company that was also utilizing an internal server built on its apps on your device to bypass the privacy regulations on iOS, meaning that it has the full capability to collect any of the data. It has the capability to transmit data in an encrypted stream outside of WhatsApp itself. And these are all technical factors that we would actually have to get a chance to see the source code to know for sure. But for me, what I'm looking at this and going, as much as I would love to just jump on the bandwagon and say, oh, see, I knew it all along, there is a lot of serious problems because the guy making these allegations has a bunch of unnamed whistleblowers, and he's the guy that a different court said has to pay WhatsApp a bunch of millions of dollars. And so I don't know what's going on here. I'll know this. I ain't a user of WhatsApp, so I don't really care all that much. But just so you know, there's some dispute going on in the midst of all of this. All right. So next up is Apple's new iOS setting addresses a hidden layer of location tracking. So this deals with your carrier can usually pinpoint you down to a specific address, and Apple wants to do something about it. They don't have any power to do anything about it, but they want to. So Apple changed iOS 26.3 with a new setting called Limit Precise Location. So this is something that impacts only a certain number of compatible modems that they have, which, by the way, does not include one of their latest phones. But apps like Apple's Find My Service, which locates your device, or navigation services are not affected because they work using the phone's location sharing features. But what they're doing is they are obfuscating the carrier location based on sending basically garbage data back to the modem. So the move comes after years of carriers mishandling location data. So, of course, if you remember back in April 2024, FCC fined Sprint and T-Mobile, along with AT&T and Verizon, $200 million for sharing data. This kind of all goes back, like, was it 2018 or something? There was the big case where the, any PI for $50 could get anybody's precise location at any given time. But they sold access to customers' location information to third-party aggregators who then sold it to other third parties without consumer consent. So the problem is the feature only works on devices equipped with Apple's custom C1 or C1X modems. That means just 3 devices: iPhone Air, iPhone 16e, and the cellular iPad Pro with the M5 chip. iPhone 17, which uses the Qualcomm Silicon, is excluded from it. Now, here's the problem. The carriers have to support the protocol. Guess what? They don't. Who would have seen that coming? Now, very similar, Android actually has a way of doing this as well. Modem vendors must cooperate, and most have not. Apple and Google do not get to control the modems in most phones. This kind of privacy protection requires vertical integration that few manufacturers possess and few carriers seem eager to enable. So go figure. Apple's like, hey, we're going to have a way to block the precise knowing of your location. And the carriers are going, we couldn't possibly support that. Oh, boy. How wonderful. All right, here's there's an update on this. Apparently the update is new, but we'll have a look. So we'll read it as it is, and hopefully we'll find that update, which is new. So this is interesting because last week we talked about Free Cash, that scummy site that was doing effectively fraudulent type advertising, which ended up on Free Cash, which is basically a scummy marketing company seeking to drive you into the various apps that end up collecting a bunch of data and making money by selling the data. Of course, in between last week's show and this week's show, I clicked a video from somebody I used to like to watching, but lately was just like, I don't like it as much. And wouldn't you know it, he's over there shilling Free Cash, broadly sponsored by Free Cash. I'm like, stop video. Do not show this channel again. I'm done. You start pushing stuff connected to spams and scams, I'm out, buddy. I'm out. So yeah, Free Cash has some serious problems. So this was a cloud storage phishing scam, which when you followed through the clicks, landed you on Free Cash. So here you go. Update your payment details. Access your accounts. Okay. So your cloud account has been locked on Saturday, 24th January. Your photos and videos will be removed. No, not my photos and videos. So, of course, it has all that urgency, clearly a phishing message. So Malwarebytes is like, well, we'll bite. We'll go fishing with this poisoned bait. Come on, buddies. And so they do this. And then they end up landing on a series of different things, and then they end up landing on ultimately free cache. So this one here, the link in the email led to storage.google APIs and then a series of strings, redirected you over. Then this would redirect you over to JPN.com, and utilizing a HTML script or a JavaScript, which is going to just simply redirect you. And then this ended up landing over here on an endurance themed fish. So planning your road trip, make sure you're protected. Protect your car with a plan made for long drives and hot days. We will get your free quotes. And then this goes over to a fake CAPTCHA. When you solve the fake CAPTCHA, it lands on freecache.com. The very company that says, yeah, we'll do anything to get your data. All right. So the end goal of the fish depends on parameters passed along during the redirect, so the results may vary. Rather than stealing credentials directly, it appears designed to monetize traffic, funneling victims into affiliate offers where the operators get paid for signups or conversions. Wonderful. So products promoted in this phishing campaign include VPN services, little-known security software, and other subscription-based offerings with no connection to cloud storage. All right, so there's the whole redirect. Okay, here is the update. I had not read the update, and it looks like this update came out today. So let's see. Company behind Free Cache Platform reached out to us to inform us about the chain of redirects leading to the platform, and after investigation, notified us that following Malwarebytes reporting the additional information they shared with us, we investigated the issue and identified an affiliate operating in breach of our policies. Partner had been removed from our network. Almeida does not sell user data. We take comparisons. Yeah. The entire model is based on that. But the first part, okay. So apparently affiliates, apparently free cache is so profitable, it's worth scammers utilizing your affiliate links. And this kind of tells me anybody that willingly does business with free cache, I want nothing to do with them. And this is the second time it's showing up in our security reports for weird, shady. And why is it they suddenly have this big problem with third-party affiliates? They seem to have a third-party affiliate problem. Maybe they should think about that. But anyway, that's what they said. So, yeah, whatever. This one's good here. Match, Hinge, OkCupid, of course, all dating apps owned by one company. They all have a ransomware breach along with Panera Bread. I guess Panera Bread's the place you go to hook up on your date with Match, OkCupid, and Hinge. So very interesting. Shiny Hunters ransomware group has claimed the data theft of 10 million records belonging to the Match group and 14 million from Panera Bread. We are surprised that many people shop at Panera Bread, but there you have it. Last time I went into Panera Bread, because I'm driving all over the country, I just made it back. I just crossed on up into the state of Pennsylvania, somewhere a little bit to the east of Johnstown. I'm heading my way back up to Erie. And I stopped by this big plaza, huge plaza, all these stores, really cool place. Stop in. I'm like, I've been drinking too much gas station coffee. Let's go to Panera Bread. I walk in with my Switch to Linux cup, shop.switchedtolinux.com, and I go on in there, and I'm like, I want to get a coffee refill, and she brings in $5. $5 to refill a coffee when I brought the cup? I laughed in her face, turned around, and walked out. I ain't paying $5 for a coffee refill from Panera Bread. So I went to the local Sheetz gas station and got very, very good coffee. The Sheetz has good coffee for $1. Actually, I don't even know if they charge me for it. It's funny, if you go into Sheetz and you bring your own cup, about 50% of the time, they don't even charge you. So I always go up and offer to pay, of course, but they don't always charge you. So that's my last experience with Panera Bread. It's extraordinarily expensive. So data involved is contact information. They said shiny hunters seem to be gaining access through, look at this, single sign-on platforms and using voice cloning techniques. So, okay, number one, don't use single signing platforms. Google, I'm looking at you. Which, by the way, if you're using uBlock Origin, you can actually block all those single sign-up crap that comes up. It's not enabled by default, but you can turn it on. Also, don't use voice. Like, who is using voice to verify? There's one of the financial companies that almost requires you to use voice print. I'm like, no. I got thousands of videos of me talking on the internet. I'm not using a voice print to verify anything. That's insanity. Right? It's just a nutcase. May as well drink some battling broth. All right. Let's see. Platforms and voice clone techniques result in a growing number of breaches. However, not all the breaches have the same impact. Match says there's no evidence of the logins, financial data, or private chats were stolen, but personally identifiable information and tracking data for some users are in scope. So they'll get a chance to, watch you talking to people on Match.com and then visiting PH for a little bit. I don't know. It's desperation carries many forms, I guess. All right. Notification process has been set in motion. Panera Bread reassures users that no indication of the hackers access user login credentials, financial information, or private communications. All right. One person. It's down here, right here. The impact on Panera Bread breach will be very different. I just ordered a sandwich and now some criminals have my home address. Yeah, don't order a sandwich from Panera Bread, guys. I mean, don't order a sandwich from anybody to get it delivered to your house. That's just asking for serious problems. And then, of course, the dating stuff, you get a lot more information, but go figure, right? All right, and let's see. Next up, Notepad hack. So Notepad++ infrastructure hack likely tied to China Nexus apt Lotus Blossom. So this was a hack that was occurring most of this year, or was it? I think it started, let's see, until September. I think it started in June or July. Was it June or July it started? Okay, it should be in my highlights here somewhere, but so effectively they revealed nation-state hackers compromised the hosting provider's infrastructure, redirecting update traffic to malicious servers, did not exploit flaws in the code, but intercepted updates before they reached the user. So the code itself was safe, but what was going on here is, like many applications, it just always wants to update itself. This is why I stand against that. Don't forget, Snaps had this problem. If you're running an Ubuntu-based system and it has Snaps enabled and you're running a bunch of Snaps, don't forget, Snaps by default update themselves. And Alan Pope just recently had a report indicating that a lot of domain squatting has happened as people are taking over expired domains for old Snaps and then taking over the source code, and then they are uploading malicious versions of Snaps, which automatically update and automatically install stuff. Well, the same thing was happening, and a lot of software tries to do this. Oh, we always got to make sure we have the latest things, so every time you boot the thing up, we're going to check for an update and install itself. Well, the thing was, now, one thing to know is that this is not every single instance of Notepad++. We would have known far earlier. This was targeted people. So this is people who are targeted. They probably have some form of info stealer already on you. They know who they are. They know what browser you are. They know what IP you are. And then they will track down that IP. And then when the Notepad++ goes on your system to reach the update, it interferes with the hosting provider and redirects you to a malicious update site instead. And then you will get a malicious version of the application, which is then spying on you. But it's very targeted. It's not doing it all the time. It's doing it apparently on specific select targets that are of high interest value to the state-sponsored hackers. All right, so the attack did not exploit flaws in Notepad++ code, but intercepted updates before they reached the servers, allowing malicious actors to intercept and redirect update traffic destined for notepad++.org. And they said through the compromise occurred at the hosting provider level rather than through vulnerabilities in the code itself. The Chinese state-sponsored group, based on highly selective targeting, attackers compromised a shared hosting server until September 2nd, and later used stolen credentials to redirect update traffic until December 2nd. And so this basically was going on most of the summer. So the investigators saw the notepad++.exe and gup.exe run first, followed by a suspicious update.exe downloaded from an external IP. That file turned out to be an NSIS installer, a delivery method often used by Chinese apt groups. It drops files into a hidden app data folder and abused DLL sideloading through a renamed Bitdefender binary to decrypt and launch a custom backdoor called Chrysalis. And so the malware relied on multiple layers of obfuscation to conceal its code and make analysis harder. It used custom API hashings to avoid calling Windows functions directly and encrypted its configuration to hide key settings. So very interesting hack and very targeted, but this is a good reason why you should never let any software on your computer update itself automatically. You should be in full control and watch that process as it goes. But the problem is, man, this is so good you wouldn't even know what was going on. So good thing someone caught that. Well, an AI plush company, an AI plush toys exposed thousands of private chats with children. So if the AI toys are not telling your children where the matches are and defining BDSM to them, then they're at least collecting all the information, storing it online, and then, yes, what they're doing there is they're going ahead and just leaking it all out to anybody who has an arbitrary Google account. That is right. That is how insecure this database was. Bondu's AI plush toy exposed a web console to let anyone with any Gmail account read 50,000 private chats between children and their cuddly toys. How wonderful. So what it doesn't say is that anyone with a Gmail account could read the transcripts from virtually every child who used Bondu toy without any actual hacking, simply by logging in with an arbitrary Google account. Two researchers found themselves looking at children's private conversations. Well, that must have been interesting. The emphasis on a successful beta test is understandable. They're like, hey guys, we had our toys out with children for 18 months and it didn't talk about BDSM or how to burn the house down. This is a win. We just have no data security. So the AI teddy bear marketed by Follow Toys were quickly veered from friendly chats into, well, BDSMs and unsafe household devices. That was the old one. Now the chat logs between children and their plushies revealed names, birth dates, family details, and intimate conversations. They were children. I hope they weren't too intimate. But it is frightening that why in this world would this app on this setup require you to enter the names of the birth dates and family details? That is an excessive amount of data to be collected for a toy that a kid's going to walk around and talk to. It's all about data collection. Only conversations not available were those manually deleted by parents or the company's staff. Potentially, these chat logs could be a burglar's or a kidnapper's dream, offering insight into household routines and upcoming events. Whether it's a foul mouth, blabbermouth, or just a feeble replacement for real friends, we don't encourage using artificial intelligence in children's toys unless we ever make it to the point where they can be used safely, privately, securely, and even then, sparingly. So yes, keep all AI toys away from all children. That makes good sense. AT&T breach. I think we've talked about a few of the AT&T breaches. This one is a new data set. This one originally circulated February. Let's see. Data set privately circulated since February 2nd is described as AT&T customer data likely gathered over the years, containing roughly 176 million records, 148 million social security numbers, 133 million full names and street addresses, 132 million phone numbers, birth dates for 75 million, and more than 131 million email addresses. This is the type of stuff that will allow people to easily do a SIM swap or do a lot of other very nefarious things. So an address helps attackers guess which services they might use. When the attackers can look up a single person and see names, full addresses, phone numbers, emails, complete or partial social security, and the date of birth in one place, the risk shifts from annoying to high impact. See, this is, once again, there is no reason a company needs to have this much information to provide you with a phone number. Credit card on file, and then, that should be all it needs. But we need to make sure you're going to pay your bill. Put a credit card on file. If they don't pay their bill the first month, cut off the phone until the bill's paid. This is not rocket science. You do not need all of this information. It's a cell phone. You don't need the physical address. Of course, there's know your customer crap, which should be abolished, but there you go. So, of course, they mention here the SIM swapping attempts can be found. And the uncomfortable part is that a fresh hack isn't always required to end up here. Breach data tends to linger, then get merged, cleaned up, expanded over time. What's different in this case is the breadth and the quality of profiles. They include more email addresses, more social security numbers, and complete records per person. Makes more data attractive, searchable, and more actionable for criminals. So there you go. But no need to regulate this data industry. They'll regulate it themselves. There you go. Any anime fans out there? Yeah. I like anime about as much as, I don't know. I don't. Can't stand it. Can't get into it. Anime, manga, I've never been able to get into it. If it's your thing, more power to you. But if it's your thing, I'm sorry. So Crunchyroll, of course, recently killed its free tier. Now you have to pay for it. And then, of course, once they did that, then they upped the subscription prices by 25%. The price effects are going to go into effect in March for previous subscribers, and they go into effect now for new subscribers. So past 6 years, the service has raised prices for fans, and today announced it's increasing monthly subscriptions by up to 25%. They had 3 million paid subscribers, an additional 197 million users with free accounts, which let people watch a limited number of titles without commercials. Now, of course, they were acquired by Sony. And they reduced the number of free titles in 2022 before eliminating the free option altogether in December 31st. And now the cheapest plan went from $8 a month to $10 a month. Mega tier allowing for streaming up to 4 devices simultaneously went from $12 to $14 a month. They said that the higher prices would give fans more of what they love, including recent and upcoming changes, teens, profiles, pins, and multiple profiles, and the ability to skip intro theme songs and ending credits. Wasn't that already in there? I know lots of people watch anime. I was at a friend's house. They were watching some anime, and I remember him skipping the intro of some anime. Maybe he wasn't on Crunchyroll. I'm not sure. Anyway, if you are on Crunchyroll, my apologies to you. It's getting a lot more expensive, just like everything else. How wonderful. All right. Ongoing RAM crisis prompts the Raspberry Pi's second price hike in 2 months. So the Pi board is increasing its price again. So the 2 boards pricing will go up by $10, 4 gigabyte by $15, 8 by $30, and 16 by $60 price increase. And this is thanks to all those AI data centers that are buying up all of the inventory, and nobody can get RAM anymore. So, you know, maybe Jeff Bezos is behind this so that you indeed will be renting your computer from the clouds. See yesterday's video for more information. All right, and our final one here, I'm going to get a little political on you for a moment here, folks. Homeland Security is trying to force tech companies to hand over data about Trump critics. All right, that's the headline from the left-leaning psychopaths at the TechCrunch who see Donald Trump and, oh my God, look at what Donald Trump's doing. I'm not sure if that's the case, but let's go ahead and talk about this objectively. We'll be objective here. Homeland Security relied on the use of administrative subpoenas to seek identifiable information about individuals who run anonymous Instagram accounts which share posts about ICE immigration raids in their local neighborhoods. Okay, so let's separate out 2 things here first. Number one is if these big tech companies did not have the data, they couldn't give the data. So maybe we just need to stop sharing the data. Now, secondly, what is the purpose of this here? You see, I know that there's a whole bunch of people that are like, oh my God, abolish ICE, because you're mentally ill and you don't know what actually is going on. All right. Here's the problem. ICE is not driving down the street, picking up random people going, oh, who are you? Show me your papers. Actually, that is happening by the leftists who are creating these community checkpoints because all of a sudden they want to support borders. Okay, cognitive dissonance at its finest. But what's going on is ICE has actual warrants for people who are not only here illegally, but have broken serious crimes while being here. And so they have a legitimate warrant to go out and arrest a person on a legitimate judge-signed warrant. Okay. If you interfere with that job, you are breaking the law. If you touch an ICE officer in the midst of that, that is an 8-year felony. It's ICE, it's police, it's anybody. Okay, it is a felony in the state of Minnesota, particularly. It is a felony, 8 years if you touch an officer in the means of obstructing him to carry out a lawful duty. So if these people are just sharing information so they can sit on the sidelines and blow their annoying whistles and hold signs and go, abolish ICE, that's not a problem. But more often than not, there's people actually interfering, and that is a problem. So if you are looking for who these people are because they are interfering, that is a legal use of data collection. If you're doing it because you're mad at them, that is an illegal use of data collection. And we do not have the exact position parsed out in this article. Now, they also say people who have criticized Trump officials or protested government policies. If it is indeed true that they are asking for information on people who have criticized Trump officials or protested government policies, that would be a violation of the law. They could not give up that data. Now, it does address in the article they are using judicial subpoenas rather than warrants because the subpoenas does not need to be signed off on. But in using a subpoena, it is up to the company can decide whether they give the information up. So if they end up giving information up on a judicial subpoena to a big tech company, let's just say it's Google, well, don't be mad at ICE, be mad at Google because they're giving up data without a warrant. So ultimately, this is why we do need any of this data collection coming with actual warrants, with actual evidence. If anybody's information is being collected because they're simply there, I disagree with them asking for that data. That would be breaking the law. But if they are seeking out data on people who are actively obstructing their job, yes, they should get that data and they should go get a warrant for that data. And the judge should sign off on that because you need to enforce the law. And that really is the point here. But my overall principle is if these big tech companies do not have the data, they cannot give the data. So maybe we as a society need to be like, hey, I don't trust the government, which I don't trust the government. Maybe we should just work to not have this data in there to be handed over. Because I work really hard to not have my data in their databases. And I'm sure they've picked up a few scraps here and there, but they're not going to get where my location is. They're not going to grab a bunch of other data. They're not going to grab anything about what I do on a phone or really on the internet at all, as long as I'm in my office, because every system on my network in my office blocks Google Analytics and other Google trackers. So that's the thing. Now, again, though, if people are legitimately breaking the law, we need the warrants, not the subpoenas. And then the tech companies can be involved. But if it's, oftentimes what's going on and what you're not seeing as much from people who are mad at all this violence going on is the violence is happening because people are obstructing and getting in the way. And that is a violation of the law. So we have to be a lot more balanced. Can we come back and meet in the middle? Can we get back to a world where Republicans and Democrats can sit around a dinner table, talk and have fun and have a great night without completely thinking that the other guy should be dead? We need to get back to that. We will have nothing but bad division in our country until that happens. But it kind of starts with getting the evil criminals out of here. And that's literally all that ICE is trying to do. Have they picked up people who are not the dangerous criminals? Yes, it's the guys who have been hanging around with the dangerous criminals. And usually if you're hanging around with dangerous criminals, there's a reason to look into you a little bit further. And some of those have been released on out and some of those have not. So there's that. But of course, they're all mad at they're all mad here at the administration for doing this. But in reality, it is up to the tech companies to hand over or not hand over data. So there's that. Okay, now I made y'all mad. Stick around. We got more as we jump on over into SillyVille because why not? Let's just stay right on the topic. We're just gonna it's last political one here, but we're just gonna do it. Over there on Roblox, kids are now organizing virtual ice raids. Yes, we actually have virtual ice raids going on here. So I'm going to turn the music down there. So here you go. Here's Roblox. They're all going in. Oh, look at that. They got this guy wearing this hat there. So there you go. They're arresting the guy. Yeah, got him in there. Ice raids. Yeah, got him. All right. Don't be too alarmed. If that triggers you, here you go. Here is the ICE protest, also on Roblox. So, you get your wonderful children over here and you get them all Roblox. Now, I want you, though, just objectively look. Which one seems like a a better, more organized place. I'm seeing here mass chaos. Okay? If this is supposed to be America, why are we waving all these Mexican flags? If y'all like Mexico so much, go back to Mexico. It's all cool. I don't mind. In fact, if you're here illegally, I don't know if you guys are aware of this. If you're here illegally and you don't want to be brutalized by ICE, self-deport, you get $2,600 and a free flight to the country of your choice. Did you know that? It's all on the app. Okay. But there you go. And I did a video about this. It'll be on next Tuesdays. There you go. Next we'll be seeing Epstein Island raids. Oh God. I want to know. But what we're gonna talk about on the Daily Walk on my Christian channel. Have a look at my Christian stuff, ourwalkinchrist.com, or on YouTube, Rumble, Odyssey, on Our Walking Christ. We will be talking about this because this is problematic on both fronts. We shouldn't be having, we should not have our 8-year-olds going into video games and seeing ICE raids or ICE protests. We shouldn't see any of these. Our 8-year-olds should not be subjected to this type of nonsense. Our 8-year-olds, if they're playing video games at all, they should be playing simple offline video games that are just simple, little fun, challenging things, a little bit of time relaxing, and that would be about it. That's kind of the principle that we want to look at there. But yeah, it's crazy. Forget books. Professors say students can't even make it through a whole movie anymore. Everyone's so addicted to their phones. And this is what phones have gotten us. It's gotten us to the point where we need a constant hit of dopamine that we got to pick up this phone. This is why we need to, it's not just like, we don't need the societal laws. What we need going on right now, we need a social pact again. This is what we had in the 80s and the 90s. We didn't need a law that said a store could not sell an X-rated magazine to a kid. Just nobody did it. It was accepted. We need to get into a world where kids are expected to not be on a phone in society. Nobody should be on a phone. Nobody should be running around like a distracted zombie all day long on their distraction boxes. Nobody should be doing that. Things should be for your communication. When we certainly don't need kids so addicted to scrolling on phones that they're doing this. But we don't need a law about it. We need to go back to a time where everyone agreed our kids shouldn't be on it. It's obvious your kids should not have a phone with them on school. And there's some other problems I realize we need to get into with that, but this is SillyVille, so we're not going to do it. I'm just going to comment on the fact that kids can't even watch a simple movie without being distracted by their boxes. And on our last one, a Chrome add-on is caught stealing Amazon commissions. So this is supposed to be an Amazon ad blocker that's supposed to block Amazon ads. But what it was doing is basically pretending it's honey and injecting its own Amazon affiliate link into your Amazon orders. I don't want to see those Amazon ads. I'm shopping at Amazon. I don't want to see Amazon ads. I just want to see the listings. So it blocked all those, and then every single thing you did, it injected its own affiliate code into there. Oh boy, how wonderful. That's great. So then they just kind of talk. It's basically the same thing as honey, but it is kind of funny that the Amazon ad extension is blocking Amazon ads, but giving you the full credit for it. Well, if you want to help support the channel, we do have a science fiction short story collection, Code Red, Dark Tales from Tech. You can find information on tlm.li/Code Red, and you can grab the ISBN number there. You can look for the book in ebook, audiobook, or softcover anywhere you buy books online. And on this page here, you can listen to a 5-minute clip of it and get information, including what does the book look like. And for all those weird people out there, you can't do anything with LibreOffice. You got to use Microsoft Office. Now, these are all produced in LibreOffice. And far more professional books than anybody else. And I travel around the country going to writers' conferences, and I do better book design work than I've seen even professional, mainstream book publishers do. So it is not only a wonderful book, it is a beautifully designed book as well. So there you have it, guys. If you want to watch, of course, the whole stream is linked down below, as are the links to the articles. Thanks for watching, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux. All right, let me rustle me up a kitty cat, then we'll feed the beast. Come Come here, Cuddy Cuddy. Come here, Cuddy Cuddy. Want to say hi? Want to say hi? Morale. Morale. Oh, yeah. Look what we got right here. Oh, smell that. Oh, smell that. Oh, look at that. Look at that right there. Oh. I'll give you a little of them right down here. Here you go. Right here. Here you go. It's right down here. Hey, dummy, it's right here on the ground. Right here. Right here. She is so dumb. There's a bunch of them sitting on the bed there, and she's not seeing them. Here, come here, here, right here, right here. Oh, there you go. Now she smells them. Yeah, there you go. Oh, she's such a dumb cat. There's 2 more down there, kitty cat. I gave you crumbs. She's like, I don't know, man. I don't know. All right. I got 14 watching over on Rumble. Let's see. Gravy Mitts, greetings, united, not divided. There you go. All right. We got over here on Odyssey. Got 9 currently watching on Odyssey. Anyone run a full Linux on a phone? On the Pine phone, which I don't have with me. My Pine phone's in the storage locker. Let's see. Vital. Right. And we got 31 watching on the Z2Bs. Let's see what we got here. Where is my marker? Jack in the shop, greetings. We got a lot of Harris Teeter. Okay. It's checked on the Trump RX website. It's a printable coupon based on the cash price for meds. Government run. Really? Is it a .gov site? Interesting. Which Linux laptop? I don't think there is necessarily a best. Yeah, get different, play around with different ones. What's OkCupid? Yeah, they're all dating sites. All 3 of those are dating sites. 3 dating sites and Panera Bread caught up in the same breach. Just, if you are on a dating site, I hereby demand you have your first date at Panera Bread. I mean, just make sure the data, the info stealers are stealing all the same information. So make sure you can upgrade RAM and storage. Only know Tinder and Grindr. I would stick with a Lenovo ThinkPads, IdeaPads. Just look up the data sheets on the model you're looking at. Make sure there's at least 1 slot for RAM and storage you can boot from. Yep. OkCupid is okay. All right. OkCupid. Okay, Cupid. All right. If you get a laptop with a flaky Wi-Fi Bluetooth card, get a Wavelink Intel. That'll give you. Yeah, you can also swapping out the Wi-Fi cards inside the computers is usually pretty easy. Quick Wires owned by AT&T. Uh-oh. But a ThinkPad for my own work as junk. One of the RAMs was soldered. I was mad. At least I could upgrade to the other one. Yeah. Do you need a physical address when you sign up for 5G home internet? Because they want to make sure you have service. Yes, I can understand the having to give up the physical location for a home-based internet. Yes. But we're talking about cell phones. All right. Don't watch anime anymore, but like the art style. Yeah, see, that's why I can't get an anime. I hate the art style. It is abominable to me for whatever reason. But more power to you if you enjoy the art style. I know a lot of people like the art style. I do not. I have no earthly idea what people like in that art style. But hey, it's that's a your preference thing. If you find beauty in it, go find beauty in it. That's cool. All right. Remember a time when I could go to the corner store with a note from my dad and could get him his smokes and a lighter with no issues, even right on security camera. Did they have security cameras then? Come on. Yeah, tired of the division. Yeah, we need to stop with all the stupid division. Bunch of nonsense. Let me check in see if there's anything going on Matrix while I have the tablet right in front of me here. Alrighty. Oop. A little bit over there. Okay. New Dell laptops don't seem that repairable anymore. No info published about how they do anything unless you get the latitude, I guess. Yeah, my newest Dell laptop is probably 2000 model, and it's perfectly repairable. AI toys. Can we ban all this BS? Make it illegal? Arrest everyone that's involved in making them? Yeah, I'm with you there. Make sure you pay your bills. I just never understand that argument. Just cut the service, and if you don't pay the bill, you violate the agreement you signed. Yeah, there you go. Violate the agreement. The cell service provider has every right to cut you off your services. Amen. Amen. All right, that will conclude our show for the day. Thank you guys for coming along, and we will see you all